Oh, you're right. They are.
She looked around the elevator, slightly embarrassed.
Well, let's test it.
Test it.
Yeah, watch this. Now, I'll just put one foot inside the elevator and look over at the buttons. Oh, there's only two, E and C.
There you go.
All right, I'll push E.
He pushed the E button and jumped out of the elevator. The door slid shut and they heard the grinding sound of the motor as the elevator car moved down.
I think I can hear it opening on E deck.
Okay, that's done. Now I'll just press the button again.
A few moments later, the elevator returned. I mean, you could have put your shirt in there to see if it actually gets wet or not.
Yep, not a single drop of water to be seen.
There you go.
See?
Junpei couldn't resist puffing out his chest just a little bit. June, however, still looked confused.
What does that mean?
It means that wherever this opens up, there's not water.
How can E deck be safe if the D deck is full of water?
I don't know. How the fuck should I know?
Well, here's what I think. The elevator shaft and E deck must be watertight and separated from wherever the ship's been punctured. Here, let me show you.
He pulled out his notebook and pen and sketched out a rough illustration.
I see. So is that why the ship hasn't sunk?
That is a very rough illustration.
The shape of the inside keeps it all from filling with water?
Yeah, I think that's what's going on.
Junpei continued talking as he closed the notebook and slid it back into his pocket.
So I'm gonna go down and check it out. You stay here, alright?
But...
It seems very foolish.
Come on, just do it, alright?
He gave June's shoulder a reassuring squeeze, then hopped onto the elevator. He pushed the E button and the door began to close. June looked worried, her eyes darting back and forth as if she was trying to make a decision, when suddenly...
I'm coming with you!
Huh?
Hey, there isn't just one button, you fucking liar! At the last possible moment, June dashed forward, turning sideways just in time to slip through the gap between the closing doors.
Hey, wait!
Junpei jammed his fingers against the open button, but it was too late.
Oh, crap, it closed!
I mean, something happened to Snake, so splitting up and being by yourself isn't exactly the best of ideas. The door had shut, he and June were in the elevator, and it was headed down to the E deck. He was so surprised by June that he didn't even have time to think about what awaited him on the E deck.
I can't just let you go alone, you know.
Thank you.
Ah, jeez.
It's greatly appreciated. I don't want to go alone either. The elevator stopped and the door slid open. They tentatively stepped out and looked around.
It looks normal.
No fish going about their fishy business, or jellyfish floating lazily through the water. There was, however, a blowfish. Or at least something that looked very much like one. What? June's cheeks were puffed out and her mouth a tiny, intense frown. What the fuck?
Oh, knock it off. It's just like I thought. This part hasn't flooded. Come on, just look around. There's no water here.
June looked around nervously then. Good God. You're supposed to inhale right before the water, not like when you're going down.
You're right. It's not flooded at all.
See?
But there's a whole lot of water.
Where?
Yeah, right on top of us.
Oh, there.
What's gonna happen if the ceiling breaks?
We all die we die instantaneously. Junpei thought about that for a moment because, you know, the water pressure will crush us. It'll suck us into a vortex, hold us under the water. As water keeps going through, we won't be able to get to this elevator, and we'll die down here. You know, reassuring thoughts.
Well, we'd probably get really wet up there.
Huh?
At any rate, we should probably go back as soon as we can, once we're done looking around down here. Lotus and Santa might already be back.
No, they probably won't be.
Okay, good idea.
Now then.
Junpei glanced around the room they'd found themselves in. The first thing he noticed was a set of thick iron bars. They ran the length of the room, separating the left elevator from the right one.
Iron bars. Well, we can't go over there.
Once we took the other elevator.
Right.
Then maybe...
In the corner of the room that housed the elevators, Junpei found an opening.
Well,
He walked up to it and stuck his head around the corner. 6th door.
it looks like there's a long straight hallway down this way.
Something's written on the door at the end. Wait, is that...
Yep, that's a 6.
Let's check.
Junpei and June set off down the hallway at a brisk clip, somewhere between a run and a jog. Ooh, if we take... Who should we take? Clover? Yeah, if we take Clover, we can go down here. Interesting. Before long, they found themselves in front of the door. Well, on it was a number written in bright red paint. 6.
I knew it!
This is a numbered door.
Yep. And indeed, there was a red bolted to the wall right next to the door.
But we can't do anything with only the two of us.
Yes, clearly.
We better head back and let everyone know.
Yes.
Junpei and June turned and headed back to C deck.
Wait, what's this?
On their way back, Junpei noticed a map on the wall.
Is this the map for E-Deck?
Yeah, it's mine now.
I should take it with me.
Huh. Actually,
So you guys found door 1.
ooh, door 1. That's interesting. Let's actually look at these maps. If I can actually find them. No. Actually, they probably would be under map. Okay, so B deck, this is what we've explored. What does E deck look like? Oh! Well, there's a nice piece missing right there. So that's where... what the fuck's that? It's chapel. Is that the only room we can go into? Hospital room. Shower room. Laboratory. Operating room. Central staircase. Storage. Fuck storage. B central staircase. First class cabins. Casino. Kitchen. Second class cabin. So these must be the rooms they went into. Because we went into the casino. Interesting. Okay. They'd back up with Santa and Lotus, who would explain what they'd found. Apparently there was another numbered door on A deck, just like the one on E deck, beyond the door that their Earth key opened. Okay, since we have 11, who can we take to get into the number 1 door? Oh, God. We need to find 9. No, not 9. 8. Yeah, so 8 people. Oh, God, Lotus. Fuck. So either if I want to go with June, I could take Lotus or Clover. Clover, please. According to Santa and Lotus, there's a 1 on the door.
So now we've located 2 new doors. The 6th door and the 1 door.
You know, it is interesting that E-Deck wasn't flooded.
It's very interesting. Lotus was quiet for a moment, lost in thought.
Well, we don't really know if all of E-Deck is safe.
True.
We only checked the area around the elevator.
Even so, it's still very interesting.
You said the 6th door was there, right?
Yes.
Then that means Zero planned all this out, even the sinking.
Well, duh, he planned us to survive for 9 hours.
That would have meant some pretty serious remodeling of the ship's interior.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
Yeah. I wonder how long it took. I can't even imagine how much it must have cost.
No, it took years to do this.
It would have been a ton, that's for sure.
Well, that does go along with what Ace was saying. The most reasonable explanation would be that this was done by some organization with access to a whole lot of cash.
But why?
Yes, it does make sense.
Why? What organization would want to do this? It's not going to turn a profit for them. That thought made them all go quiet for a moment. June bit her lip while Lotus sighed softly to herself, and Santa cracked a stiff neck and stared off into the distance at nothing.
Yeah?
I don't think it's a very good idea to stay here.
Why not? June looked up at Junpei with large pleading eyes.
Yeah, you're right. Ace and his team might be back already.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Well, June, Junpei, and I should be able to open door 1.
Huh? You guys leaving me behind?
865 19 10 1.
Just kidding. All right, let's go.
Lotus' words were all the impetus they needed. Back to the large hospital room they went. But I still want to hang on to Seven because he is the key to getting out of here. The moment they stepped inside, a tremendous voice echoed across the room. Oh, there's Seven.
Hey! Where the hell did you guys go?
It was Seven.
7?
Ace was right behind him, and Clover was behind Ace, although she seemed to be hanging back.
What's wrong?
It looked as though there was something strange about them. Seven had the look of a man who'd seen a ghost. Ace was just as pale, and Clover looked as though she was only moments from passing out entirely. For a long moment, they simply stood there looking at one another. Junpei looked around nervously, waiting for someone else to speak. No one did. He looked at Seven.
What happened?
What the hell kind of question is that?
Seven was trying very hard to be angry, but something had shaken him hard. His shoulders were trembling and his voice was strained.
Snake is...
Seven couldn't finish. He just looked away, his face twisted by. Junpei wasn't sure what. Instead, Ace spoke. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and spoke.
Snake is dead. He died, just as the 9th man did.
It was as if all the air had suddenly been sucked out of the room. Someone killed him. Who was it? How are you able to make 3 with a 2? Oh god, I'm gonna have to actually think about it. So you get 9 with 7. Clover wouldn't do it, so you can't have that. 9. Santa would be enough. So if 7 and Santa killed him, that would be enough. 2. I'm blanking on who else it could be, but it's gonna be 2 people killed him. I know it's not me, so I'm in the clear there. And I doubt 7 would anyways. He just doesn't seem the type. Junpei felt his heartbeat quicken and he realized he was having trouble breathing. He could feel cold sweat beating on his forehead and neck. June, Santa, and Lotus looked the way he felt. All 3 were frozen in place, their faces white.
Oh my god. That's not true, is it?
Nope, yeah, we're lying.
We should make sure.
No,
Yeah, right. We should.
I don't want to. They nodded to one another, headed for the number 3 door.
Wait! Not that way.
What? Why not?
They stopped short and turned to look at Seven. He was pointing at the door with no number.
I stuck a screwdriver in there to keep the door from closing all the way. It's not locked, so you can go in that way.
Yeah, thanks, Seven.
Where is he?
The shower room. On the left side of the hallway. I put a broom in there too to keep the door open.
That means we can get in without going through the numbered door, right?
Which means we don't have to worry about blowing up.
Yeah, that's right.
Then let's go.
Their new destination cleared, Junpei and his companions headed for the door with no number. Once in the hallway, it was easy to spot the middle door on the left wall.
This wasn't open when we passed here before.
But now, just as Seven had said, there was a broom stuck between the door and the frame keeping it open.
Well, let's keep going.
They looked at it for a moment, then stepped inside.
Oh, it smells horrible.
Thanks. Lotus wrinkled her nose and covered her mouth in disgust. Even Santa pinched his nose shut.
Oh, yeah, this is pretty awful. I feel like I'm gonna puke.
It was just as bad as they said, perhaps worse. A hideous smell filled the air, so thick they could almost taste it. It was sour and smelled of fish, feces, and burnt meat. It worked its way through Junpei's nose and down his throat to pound against the entrance of his stomach. He put his hand over his mouth and struggled to keep what little was in his stomach where it belonged.
Where is he? Where's Snake?
Right there. They didn't have to wonder where the body was.
There.
There was blood everywhere. A few arms of the splatter reached toward them as they walked through the door. Like the fucking like LLR right there. All one had to do was follow the mini radio arms to their source. Fucking right.
June, you should stay
Damn
here.
it. The body itself was hidden behind a divider. No, but how was he able to write blood there? If it, how? Because if he blows up, he's not going to be able to do that unless he cut himself to write it beforehand.
But
Please, just do me a favor, okay? Alright?
He didn't give her a chance to say no. He put his hand on her shoulder, as if to shove her into the ground like a tent pole, turned and walked toward the end of the divider.
I'm going in.
Felt like it took an eternity for him to get there. Sana and Lotus followed, timid and nervous as a pair of children. Eventually, they reached the divider. They looked at one another and nodded slowly. Junpei put his hands on the divider and peered around the corner. For a moment, he forgot to breathe. He felt his heart collapse in his chest like an empty cigarette carton, and time froze. He knew that in that instant that he would take that image before him to the grave. What was left of the body sat in a sea of blood. Oh, God. Chunks of flesh torn from the body sat in blood like tiny islands in a great red sea. A vast ragged hole had been torn in the torso, and what remained of his intestines spilled out of it like fresh spaghetti. Smaller chunks of meat had splattered against the wall and became stuck there as they dried. Oh my God. Globules of yellowish fat had made trails like tiny slugs as gravity pulled them down the wall even as they tried to it.
Just like Ace said.
God, I don't know why he didn't just believe him. Sana's voice was strained. Junpei suspected he was holding down some vomit of his own.
Just like the ninth man. The detonator in his bracelet set off the bomb in his gut.
It's terrible. It looked as though the explosion had been quite powerful.
Oh god. The bone is coming out of his left arm.
Oh, stop.
It's definitely an open fracture.
I don't care. Stop it. His legs were both bent in an odd, unnatural way, and his left arm had split open, exposing the painfully white bone of his ulna. His bracelet lay next to him. It seemed to have hit the wall hard enough to have shattered the display, which lay on the ground in pieces.
Oh, the face. It's horrible.
Don't look. Stop. I don't want to look at that.
Yeah, you can't even tell who it is.
God. Half of his head had simply collapsed. The blood coating almost made it look like raw pizza dough covered in tomato sauce. His clothes, too, were covered in blood. The burgundy tie, the white shirt, the jacket with the yellow piping, and the gray slacks.
But the clothes are...
They were all familiar to Junpei.
No mistake about it. It's Snake.
Fuck. Lotus's voice was unnaturally deep and strained, and Junpei heard it catch in her throat. Fuck. New time frame? Or time period thing? The squeal of tortured metal made Junpei's teeth curl. It sounded like the noise of a ghost would make. No matter how many times he heard it, he never got used to it. Every time it put him on edge. It didn't help that there was a girl nearby who looked far more like a ghost than a living human should. It was Clover. She sat on the edge of the bed, her head drooping and listlessly onto her chest. Her eyes were blank and stared across the room at nothing. Her breathing was slow and mechanical. Aside from the rise and fall of her chest, she didn't move. Junpei felt as if even a nudge might cause her to shatter into 1,000 pieces.
Snake was probably murdered.
Thanks, Seven.
Chances are he was killed the same way the ninth man was.
Probably. Seven lowered his voice, likely in an effort to keep Clover from hearing what he had said. There were 4 other people in the room with Junpei and Seven. Ace, Santa, June, and Lotus. Seven looked at each of one of them in turn and continued.
It's pretty straightforward. Not that hard to figure out how they did it.
Yep.
First, the killers got Snake to authenticate on the red to open door 3. Then they shoved him into it, alone, and waited 9 seconds for the door to shut. Once that door shut, it was all over for Snake. But he didn't give up. He probably knew it wouldn't do him any good, but he probably ran into the shower room looking for the dead. It was a small chance, but it wasn't like he had anything to lose.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't work. The detonator is only deactivated if everybody who authenticated when they went in uses the dead. Snake was the only one who went through the door. And then, 81 seconds after he was shoved in,
Boom.
that happened.
I see. So that's what you meant by killers, huh?
Yep.
You need at least 3 people to open one of the numbered doors, including Snake. It wouldn't open for Snake and a single killer.
Yep.
Yeah,
2 people killed him.
that means we're looking at multiple perps here.
Junpei crossed his arms and grunted.
Well, just in case, I want to make sure. Let's say you're right. When do you think Snake was killed?
Probably when we all split up looking for the parts of the red.
When we all split up to look for the parts for the Reds, I think.
That's the easiest time that would happen.
Right after that was when we noticed he was gone.
And that means none of us have alibis.
Yep.
We were all off searching the rooms we'd been assigned, looking for those parts.
Yeah. That means anybody could be a killer.
Wait a minute. What are you talking about?
Well, not anyone. Well, depending on how you do the math. So, that's what it really goes down to. What math likely is it?
How can you say that so casually?
Because it's reality.
You're implying that one of us is a killer.
2 of you are a killer.
Well, not just one of us. If I'm right, then at least 2 of us are murderers.
Yep.
Why don't you calm down a bit, Seven?
And what?
What are you going to gain by being so suspicious? That's what Zero wants, you know?
What do you gain for not actually addressing this issue?
What Zero wants?
Exactly. This game was set up by Zero, wasn't it? Any game has a winner and loser. Whoever makes it through door 9 is a winner, and those who don't are the losers. Zero is trying to make us fight against one another for that victory.
Then you're saying that Zero is trying to split us up by making us fight each other?
It doesn't change the fact he was killed.
Yes. That is why we can't let ourselves fall prey to suspicion. We have to trust one another and form a strong bond of friendship. Otherwise, we'll end up ensnared by Zero's manipulations.
Then does that mean that the person who killed Snake...
Yes. Almost certainly Zero himself.
Why would he kill him this way? And not any other way?
If there's anyone we should doubt, it should be Zero. He masterminded this game and kidnapped all of us. Doesn't it seem reasonable that he would have killed Snake as well?
But there's no reason to.
Good question.
Junpei hadn't really considered that.
If Zero killed Snake, then Zero is on the ship with us.
The problem is, why would he feel the need to do that? Why kill him and not anyone else? Junpei. Was Zero still on the ship with them? Huh. Was he on the ship? Is he on the ship? Huh. I'm not sure. He wasn't sure.
Something's still strange.
What was that?
Well, I'm just wondering about one thing.
And what's that?
How can you be so sure that Zero's on this ship?
Ace's eyebrow shot up.
Really, Junpei? I confess I'm a little disappointed. Usually you're rather sharp.
Oh, fuck you too, buddy.
Isn't it obvious?
Wait, it is?
This ship.
Huh?
Zero said, this ship, several times when he addressed us.
Because he's speaking in that person. The audio is coming through the speaker, so why would he say that ship or the ship you're on? That's just unneedlessly wordy. I'm not theoretically on this ship, but I would still address as this ship.
If he weren't here, he wouldn't say this ship, would he?
He might.
He'd be saying something like, that ship, or the ship.
That ship will sink. No, it just seems odd to say that when it's coming from someone that's talking about said ship. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
If I was a mastermind serial killer, I would still say this ship. Ace's explanation made perfect sense. Junpei felt a little foolish that he hadn't seen it himself. Because I put myself in his shoes, and I say this ship. That's what I would do. I would say, yeah, this ship is going to explode in about 8 hours, 59 minutes. Clock's ticking, buddies. Still, he left us with a question, and it was one of no small importance.
If Zero's on the ship, where is he?
Why is he on the ship? That's my question. Why would he be on here if it's going to sink in 9 hours? Suddenly, everyone went very quiet. The silence was cold and clammy, and Junpei could feel it crawling across his back and around his throat. Again, he heard the ghosting, moaning noise. And moments later, a person who looked more ghost than human appeared. It was Clover. She looked at the floor as she spoke, and her voice was a cold monotone.
I think Zero is one of us.
Ah, beautiful. Every human body in the room froze. The only sound was the muffled rustling of breath. Eyes started from face to face. One of those faces was the face of their jailer. But who? Was he one of them? It's possible.
Well, that's possible.
Definitely possible. If we're going with the theory that Zero killed Snake, then they have to have a way to open that door. And I don't think they just opened it randomly. And Snake said that he was like extremely wet, like he could fight off an attacker. Could he fight off two? That's the question.
Huh?
Like Clover said, Zero might be one of us.
What are you saying, Jumpy? Didn't you hear what Ace said?
Exactly. I said we shouldn't suspect one another for no reason.
No reason. I've got a great reason.
And what's that?
Snake's dead in that fucking room.
The bracelets.
It's an automated system as well. There's no way to accidentally get killed. He held out his left
Why
arm.
are the bombs in our bodies connected to the bracelets? You're all thinking Zero's hiding somewhere watching us, right?
Yeah, there'd be no point. Once someone goes in there, just explode it immediately.
If he's doing that, then he could just detonate the bombs by remote control if someone did something they weren't supposed to. It would be a lot more precise and a lot easier. But if that's the case, then why is the bomb set off by the detonator in the bracelet?
Yep.
You got a point.
It's all automated. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to be near the controls.
I'm not done. Try applying the same ideas to the Nonary game. All of the puzzles here run all by themselves. In other words, Zero doesn't have to be controlling them for the game to move forward. Why's that? Why would Zero bother to do something like that?
Junpei let the question hang in the air and looked at the others. It was Santa who answered.
So let's say you and Clover are right. Zero's one of us. If that's the case, then it'd be really hard for him to keep track of all of us or control anything remotely. That's why all the puzzles run by themselves.
Yep, that's why all the rules are automatic.
That's what you're getting at, right?
Yeah.
Junpei nodded.
Seven, when we were talking earlier, you said any one of us could be Snake's killer, right?
Any one of us could be Zero.
Yeah, something like that.
It fits with Ace's thing, saying that Zero killed him.
Alright then. I've got a question for you, Ace. You said something like Zero must be the one who killed Snake, right?
Both of those can be true at the exact same time. They aren't exclusive to each other.
Yes, something like that. I can't think of any other explanation.
So what do we get if we combine those? They fit together pretty well, I think. Something like this. Whoever killed Snake is Zero. Hence, Zero is one of us. Seven and Ace's theories aren't mutually exclusive. They actually complement each other pretty well. At least they do if Zero is one of us.
Yep. No one spoke. Their faces were grim, but Junpei wasn't sure if they believed him or not. Finally, Lotus spoke up.
What were his motives?
No idea.
His motives?
Yes, isn't that pretty important?
Yeah, at the end. Right now it doesn't matter.
Why would Zero want to hide as one of us?
To appear not suspicious.
Oh, well, that's because...
Junpei choked. Hiding in plain sight. Don't have to worry about being found out. He hadn't thought of that, and he had to be honest with himself. He had no idea.
I don't know.
Lotus
Well,
sighed.
so much for making a persuasive argument, Junpei.
And you also get exact, like, influence on the game, because if you're influencing the decisions the players make while you're there with them, it would allow you a greater control of the game than just having the rules. So if you're sitting there saying, oh, I really want to go through this door, and I want to take these guys with me, that you're influencing the outcomes here.
In other words, you only had circumstantial evidence.
So do you.
I don't really think that's enough to go on, you know?
Ah,
Junpei was painfully aware of their eyes on him, in their disapproval. He tried to find something else, anything else to look at. Then in that horrible silence, they heard the bell begin to ring. It was the clock in the central staircase.
It's 3 in the morning.
Fuck. Only have a few hours left.
That means we have 3 hours left.
God.
Then we need to move now.
Yep.
Seven, Clover, Junpei. I know how you feel, but you do understand that right now it's important we trust one another, don't you?
Yeah, I guess. Somewhat.
you're right, but...
Junpei couldn't bring himself to respond. He swallowed the words he wanted to say inside. Seven and Clover remained similarly silent. Their eyes were looking at something somewhere else, very far away.
We must go. We have very little time left.
Ace's words put their feet to moving. They all knew where they were going.
Our next destination is... Mercury.
To Mercury.
But maybe you and June should check it out first and then report back to us.
All right, let's go, June.
Right. Here it is.
Oh, they must have found the Mercury key card. It's had bolted to the wall near the stairs that lead to the casino and kitchen between the two elevators.
The Mercury card reader.
We're using the card 7 gave us, right?
Yeah,
I found it when we were checking out the shower room.
I think Seven said something like that. Anyway, let's see what happens.
I assume the elevator works. Junpei slid the card through the reader. The light on the reader turned green and made a tiny electronic noise.
I guess the elevator works now.
Try it out. See if it works.
Jumpy, I know it's only the two of us, but let's do our best.
Okay.
What's with you all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy we were put together.
Of course you are.
You know it's just for searching E-Deck, right?
I don't think she minds.
Even so, I'm glad I'm with you.
Okay. Keep it in your pants, Chick. Come on, calm down here.
Oh, first we need to find out if the elevator
Hey.
comes up full of water.
I guarantee you it's not. But good God, she's very interested in him.
Just like we did before.
Whatever floats her boat, I guess. Nice and dry.
Oh, here it is.
I knew it. It's not wet at all.
Let's go.
Yes.
Once it had been checked for water, Junpei and June stepped into the elevator.
Look! Nearly all of the buttons are destroyed.
Yeah, only the seat and bottom button can be pushed.
Oh, that's what they meant. There's still other buttons.
We're on C deck right now, so the only one we can choose is bottom.
Yeah.
Go to the bottom.
Well, let's try it out.
Junpei hit the bottom button. The door closed. Slowly, they began to move downward.
Oh, so this is the bottom deck.
They stepped off and saw the hallway to their right ended somewhere between 20 and 25 feet from them. The hallway in front of them was a dead end. But not a regular dead end.
Hey, over there.
Ooh, a 2-door.
This is a numbered door.
2, okay, so we're 11 together, so that means we have to add 9. Because we already have a 2, so we need 9. Which would be Lotus and Ace if we went this way. Because that would give us 20.
This is the 8th one we found. There were 2 numbered doors on B deck near the central staircase. They were doors 4 and 5. 3 more in the large hospital room. Doors 3, 7, and 8.
And the door we found on E deck, and the door Lotus and Santa found on A deck.
Yep.
It was a 6 on the door on E deck, and a 1 on the door on A deck.
So we have 3 ways to go. 4, 5, 3, 7, 8, 6, 1. And now door 2 stood in front of Junpei.
That means...
Do you think the next door we find?
Will be the 9.
Yeah, I think so.
You, me, 7, we're getting the fuck out of here.
The next one's gonna be door 9.
Despite himself, Junpei felt excited. There was something about that excitement that frightened him as well.
Finally!
Yeah.
You don't look very happy about it, though.
Maybe because the realization we have to sacrifice people to get out of here.
It's not that. I just hope nothing goes wrong.
You're right. We should keep our fingers crossed.
Let's head back.
I still say door 1 is where we go through.
Okay.
Because I don't want to go with Lotus. He did his best to put it from his mind and headed back to C deck with June.
1, 2, 3, 4. All right, 7 pieces.
Huh? The pieces of paper they'd folded up lay on the ground next to Junpei's legs. Everyone had written on the paper pulled from Junpei's notebook in an effort to pull together a blind vote.
Just double checking, but everyone wrote their code name and a door number they want, right?
Yes, just like you told us earlier.
Can't believe we're voting here.
Stupid as fuck. Why had they decided to vote that way?
We need to make the whole thing fair, blah-de-blah. This is a complicated plan, you know.
God, whoever fucking suggested that's a dumb motherfucker.
Hurry it up, Mr. I have a brilliant idea.
They decided it wasn't fair to simply ask everyone at once that would allow people to force others to go through certain doors.
Yeah, quiet in the peanut gallery.
And he had a plan. It wasn't a plan he wanted anyone catching wind of, however, so he did his best to act calm as he began to open and read the piece of paper.
All right, let's open these up. The first one says, Ace requests door 1.
Of course he does.
Yes, I do. Would you like me to explain why?
No.
No, we don't have time for that. Sorry. Let's keep going.
No, shut the fuck up. No, I don't care. He opened the second one.
Next is Santa. He wants door 6.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I wrote.
Junpei continued with 3rd, 4th, and 5th pieces of paper.
Clover wants 1, Lotus wants 2, and 7 also wants 2.
Wait a minute. There is no way I'm going anywhere with the Elephant Man.
Wow.
No, there'd be no point to the voting if we let people change their choices because of stuff like that.
Yeah, really, what the hell? Why not we just go with mob rule at that point?
But... no.
Just give it up, Lotus. It's not like I want to hang out with some exhibitionist grandma.
Oh, shit.
I am not an exhibitionist. I'm wearing clothes.
She didn't argue the grandma point, which is hilarious.
Barely.
So, last I checked, that's not a crime.
It is not a crime.
Maybe. But what about common decency? Nobody wants to have to look at a chick who looks like a half-naked raisin.
God.
Oh, I'm gonna kill you?
How old is she? She doesn't look old at all. Lotus's hair flared out like a mane of an angry lion, and she roared
Oh,
with a
not
voice
good.
that shook the walls.
Let go! Let go of me! I'm killing him!
Okay, bye. With some difficulty, Ace managed to restrain her.
Junpei, read the rest.
Right.
Junpei tore his eyes away and looked down at the 6th piece of paper. He opened it.
June wants door 6.
Yes, I don't really have a reason. I just felt like it.
Of course. All of the papers save Junpei's had been read. He did some quick calculations in his head.
So this was everyone's vote. Ace and Clover requested door 1.
Okay, so 1, 4, 5. Okay, I can go with them and through door 1. This is the door on A deck near the central staircase.
7 and Lotus requested door 2.
There's a 7, 8, which makes 15. I can go through there as well. This is the door on bottom deck and could be reached by taking the elevator to the bottom of the ship. God, I want to go there just to fuck with them. And I think it'd be hilarious.
Santa and June requested door 6.
6, 6 plus 3, 9. 5, I can go through that one. No, I can't. Yeah, because it would be 14. I can't go through that one. This is the door on E deck and could be reached by taking the elevator near the central staircase down.
Then the door I should choose is...
Took him less than a second to run the numbers. He opened the 7th piece of paper and spoke.
Okay, the last one is mine. I want to go through...
Door 126. So... Oh, I can't. I'll save, actually. Save. Hallway. No. 126, 126. I can go with Santa and June. I haven't gone with that. June or Santa, actually, this entire time. I could go with 7 and Lotus, and it would be hilarious. Ace and Clover, I probably don't want to go with them. I don't think it'd be too interesting. Huh. I think I'll go with June.
I want to go through door 6.
Junpei flipped open the piece of paper. It read Junpei door 6. Of course it did. He'd written it after all.
That's a problem.
June spoke barely above a whisper, but they all knew what she'd said.
None of these teams will be able to go through the doors they want.
Yep, that's why it chose to fuck it all up.
Clover and I chose door 1.
Lotus and I chose door 2.
That's not enough people to open a numbered door, however.
Exactly.
The digital routes don't match up either.
We've got similar problems. Junpei and I want to go through door 6, but our digital route is 5. If we're gonna open that door, we need a 1.
Damn, what are we gonna do now?
What are we going to do?
Junpei crossed his arms and did his best to put his thoughts in order. The others followed suit, but with little result. Eventually, Clover broke the silence.
Why don't 7 and Lotus go through door 1? With me.
Her face was cold and flat as her voice, but her logic was sound. 7 and Lotus looked at each other. 7, 8, 4 equals 19. 1 plus 9 equals 10 equals 1. First problem resolved, Ace spoke up.
What about me?
Fuck off, Ace.
Isn't that obvious? Wasn't one of the teams just complaining that they didn't have a 1?
You mean I should join Santa's team?
Yes.
Yes.
Clover nodded, her face still cold and emotionless. Her attitude and posture could not have been more different than the energetic Grove of only a few hours before. No one seemed ready to contradict her. Her response was understandable given the horrible situation in which she had found herself, but even so.
Huh. I understand. I'll go through door 6 then. If we do as Clover has suggested, we can all pass through a numbered door and no one will be left behind.
See, if I'd picked any of the others, Santa and June, since they form 9, they could have gone through any of the other doors with them. They could have either gone through with Santa and, 7 and Lotus, Or they could have gone with Ace and Clover. So that's why I wanted to shake it up a bit. Shake up these teams.
This seems to be the most reasonable solution.
And that equals 6.
7, Lotus. What do you guys think?
I don't have a problem with it.
Me either.
Alright then, we're good to go.
See you later.
Bye.
Wait, Clover! Don't move on your own!
Oh, I'll be going too then.
Yeah, be careful.
We should get going as well.
Yep. At last, Junpei and the other 6 had managed to separate themselves into 2 teams. Clover, 7, and Lotus headed to A deck, where door 1 was near the main staircase. Junpei, June, Ace, and Santa, however, took the elevator to E deck. The ride to E deck was a silent one.
This is E-Deck.
Yep.
There should be a door at the end of the hall.
All right, let's go.
Santa's words jolted them to action, and they stepped out of the elevator into a long, straight hallway. Before long, they arrived in front of door 6.
Here it is. You guys ready?
No, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
Then let's get to it.
One by one, they put their palms over the red. With a soft electronic noise, it authenticated each of them. The door opened, and all at once, the 4 of them left through it.
Hey! I found it! It's right there!
Well, that was quickly. Fortunately, the dead was located easily enough. This one had been placed quite close to the door that they'd entered through. They gathered around it quickly and hurriedly placed their palms on it for authentication one by one. Actually, I haven't hung out with any of these people. Like, even Ace. Fuck. These are all new people. Because the first one, it was, Snake and 7. The second one was 7... Not 7. Was it 7? I don't know. I don't actually fucking remember. Yeah, it was 7. And someone else. It might have been Ace, actually, now that I think about it. Either way, though, like, these are all... No, it was Clover. It was 7 and Clover. So yeah, these are all new people that I'm hanging out with for the first time. God, it feels great making new friends.